Hey Louis, welcome to Launch Day.
Hey, there you go. It's good to meet you, sir.
Yeah, and you are the first sponsor. I didn't think I would take sponsors for the first one, but you got in, and I'm happy actually, so, welcome.
I'm excited about it. I'm glad that CompAI is going to be the first launch day sponsor. It'll go down in history. There'll be people talking about it for years to come. It's going to be cracked.
Wow. I already had pressure, now it's crazy. But you already paid, at
Yeah,
least,
true, true. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I could charge back, maybe create a dispute, but
Oh my
we're
God.
good.
It's lemon squeezy. Can you do that? Oh my God, I hope not. Anyway, uh,
uh, I believe, to be honest with you, even if for us, if one or two people came to us and checked out the platform and used it, it's valuable to us. It's worth it.
yeah. So speaking of which, like on launch day, the regular submissions, it's only indie founders.
Yeah,
And when I talk with you, you seem to have like, so you're not indie. This is like
yeah.
you're raising money right now. But the way when I talk with you, it's very interesting because you seem kind to have, kind of this chill indie vibe, which I appreciate. So can you like tell us a bit, your journey, like how you started all this and how you ended up there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually kind of don't see myself as not an indie hacker. Weirdly enough, because it's what I've done for a long time. Actually, CompAI is the first company that I have actually raised money for. It's the first company that I've ever even spoken to an investor. I worked for companies in the past. A couple of years ago, I kind of just I quit my job. I started doing my own thing. Had some like moderate success at different things, and this time around, I basically just said, I wonder how hard it would be to raise money for, like, I've seen founders who've gone through the process, and it just kind of excited me to try and do it, try and conquer it,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
I know there's like horror stories of people saying that, hey, if you raise money, you have zero control. You won't be able to do what you want to do. You won't be able to focus on all of these things. But honestly, it's not been the experience I've had so far. So I don't want to say skill issue on everybody else's behalf, but from what I see, it's been
yeah.
okay. So yeah, I can go into a bit of my background. So I worked for B2B companies the majority of my career over the last 11, 12 years. They've always been on the smaller side. The biggest company I worked for was Sony at one point, and I hated it.
Okay.
There's like 5,000 people there. It was the opposite of what I enjoyed at different companies. So I went back to, 10, 20, 30 people companies, and I always just enjoyed that. I've never been on the B2C side. I've always done B2B stuff. I've never, worked for a company that's made like a mobile app, for example. It's always been like, business
I
software
see.
or,
Yeah.
like actual things that like drive revenue for bigger companies. So
Which is good because if you want to be an entrepreneur after, B2B is usually considered easier. So that's a good, I guess,
yeah,
path.
I mean, look, for us, I mean, do you want to sell to 100 people and, get $5 a month from them, or do you want to sell to 10 people and get $50 from them? It's just like the economics of it, right? I think if you can solve a real like need in any business, people will pay for it. People want to save time. People want to save, time is money, right? People want to save time, but they directly want to save
Yeah.
money by doing that. And if you can
And
save a
just
company,
coming back on like having raising money and shit. One of the things I see a lot is, oh, when you raise money, it's not just control, it's also like you don't make much money. Like that's the argument I hear, like because then you raise and you
yeah,
raise, so you keep being diluted, and then eventually after all this hard work, you make less money. You have any thoughts on that?
yeah. I mean, I don't see the argument. So I've seen the exact same people saying, hey, you're going to get nothing out of it. But I mean, from the experience that I've been in, I'm sure there's some startup founders that have gone through the process and ended up with a small amount. But I think the majority of VC funded founders will pay themselves a good enough salary to live on. I pay myself like a normal kind of salary. It's not crazy. But it's good enough for me to not worry about anything. You know, I have a
Yeah.
car, a house, and my kids, they got food in their stomach. My wife is happy. She doesn't have to, you know, worry about paying certain bills or doing certain things, right? You can go and just like, you pay yourself enough to cover life and not worry about anything. Because
Yeah.
if a startup founder is, you know, worried about how they're going to pay next month's bills, how are they supposed to focus on the business that they're working on at the same time? So
Yeah.
you have a good justification to pay yourself a reasonable amount. You can't just go and pay yourself like $1 million a year if you're
Yeah.
making no money. Sure, that's you won't do that.
Yeah.
And on the dilution side, I mean, it really just depends on how on the terms you get. So if you know you go and raise from I see a lot of European people complaining about the VCs because, and I'm European by the way, so I get it. Like in the UK, if you went to an investment company like a VC, typically they give you really bad terms. So you might get like maybe $200,000 and they end up taking 15% of a company or even 30% of a company. That's really bad. Like don't ever do
I
that.
see. Yeah.
You go to the US and you know YC, they take 7%, and you get a you know pretty much like a year's worth of like runway, and you'd be able to figure stuff out from there. You'd be able to go and raise like a big round at the end of that,
Yeah.
and maybe dilute another 10%. But really, for a pre-seed and a seed company, you should be from what I know, looking at trying to do maybe 20% maximum. And at that point, really, if you need to do a Series A, it's going to be 10% more. So 30% Series A. At that point, you're at, you know, 10, $20 million of funding. You'd have a team. But yeah,
And also,
maybe I don't know enough about it.
this argument about the money, also it's missing some part of the point. Like, at least for me now, the reason I'm still doing this
Hmm.
is it's a fun game. It's just a fucking fun game. That's the
Yeah.
main reason. And like, I think of maybe one day trying the game of racing because it's just a different level of the game. Like, not
So
necessarily harder, just like a different path. And it's like, it can be fun. And it's not about making X millions per year versus 50%. Like, it doesn't, like, for me, that's not enough of a reason.
that's it.
And also if you can raise and you can have a bigger impact because maybe you make less than a pure indie hacker who's like, but maybe you have more impact. Maybe you can have a different kind of impact.
Yeah.
So I don't
I
know. It
think
just seems, to me, just seems like fun and like cool. And so as long as you pay yourself, it's fine. And of course, try to get some upside, not just pay yourself eventually, but
yeah,
yeah.
you want to have a really great outcome at the end of it, right? You obviously, I don't care too much about becoming like a billionaire, but I want to make good money. I want to make sure that my family looked after, and I can buy stuff if I wanted to. If I want a Lambo,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, yeah, maybe that would be great. But I think the thing for me was, like you said, just I wanted to win at something that I hadn't done before, and
Exactly. Yeah. That's a different game.
I'm sure the people watching this will know who Ilias is from X. I actually co-founded a company with him last year. So it wasn't really indie hacking, but we were both indie hackers at that point, and then we came together. We made an app called LinkDR, and that ended up doing really well. I ended up exiting to Illy, so he's still doing it. He's taking it over.
Yeah.
I had like a good exit from it, and at that point, I was like, "Hey, what do I want to do now?" And I had worked for great companies. I've worked for great startups who have actually raised a ton of money and made a huge impact. I've done the indie hacking stuff. I quit my job and I was on my own. And then I, kind of just like ended up getting a co-founder, which was Zilly, and we built something cool. To me, the next natural thing was I wonder what it would be like to be like these VC funded, like founders who go and raise like X amount from YC and then go and raise
Yeah.
from these huge VC companies and really go and try and build like a huge company, like a unicorn.
Yeah.
For me, every single B2B company that I worked for had to go through compliance, and it was just like a natural kind of thing
Okay.
to try and solve for me.
So that's how you got this idea.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
can you kind of like
absolutely.
describe compliance? Because to be honest, I'm completely noob in this.
Yeah. Well, the majority of people are. It's a very complex industry, or it's overly complex, and that's what we're trying to solve. So, right now, if you make an app, a B2B app, and you go and sell it to you go and try and sell it to a hospital, or you go and
Yeah.
sell it to a bank, they're all going to ask you if you're like SOC 2 compliant or ISO compliant or GDPR compliant, right? And
Okay.
it's one of those annoying things where it's essentially
I
a
remember a post from Tony Din, who
mhm,
is doing
yes,
Typing Mind AI
correct.
rapper thing.
I've
Uh,
read the same blog post. I love it.
okay, so that's what it reminds me of. So, and it was like not that hard, but still like weeks. I mean, not that hard compared to how scary it was,
Yes.
but it was like maybe 1 month of work or like quite intense work from him to
Yep.
become compliant. But I guess he started from a very good base because he seemed quite good at
Yeah.
what he does and very thorough. And so I guess that's the problem you're solving. You're like
That's
helping with
the
that.
that's the exact thing that we're trying to do. So essentially, if you could think of basically the incumbents right now, the big companies around the space, there's two of them. They're worth $10 billion combined, 5 billion each, hundreds of millions of dollars of ARR, and the whole space. It's almost been made to be overly complicated to
Yeah,
justify the amount of money that you would pay to get
it's kind of
compliant.
like military contract and government shit.
Yes,
Yeah,
but it's like you're a cybersecurity like consultant or an expert, and you help a company get SOC 2 compliant. You're going to make it sound really complicated to justify getting paid $500 an hour for a year,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
So there's almost like nobody in the space who is incentivized to make it easier for founders and startups to get compliant with these things because there's a ton of money involved. So CompAI we're actually open source. I don't know if you knew that
yeah.
before
I
this,
checked it
but
out. I
correct.
love this vibe,
So
man. This vibe of like let's fuck shit up. Let's fuck all these incumbents who are like
that's so
let's
I know this is going out, but not a lot of people know this. But before we launched, one of those incumbents actually approached us and tried to acquisition hire myself and my co-founder. So
yeah.
we would
Just
be
remove competition. Basically, they wanted. Yeah,
we could have got maybe $2 or $3 million a year in salary and options by just going to them and being on their innovation team. I put that in quotes because I don't think we've actually innovated anything there.
yeah,
And this is before we even launched a product and before we even had any customers. That's how price sensitive this space is and how much money is involved. If we take one person from them, it's worth $150,000 to them. Lifetime value of a customer, 150K plus. Each one of these companies, you don't churn from them. First of all, if you go through if Tony he's gone through it right, he's going to do it every single year now because it's almost like he did the work initially. You have to do this every year. You have to pay every year. It's like an ongoing thing. You're not
oh.
going to then go and revert having this compliance stuff in
Wait,
place,
wait. So
right?
you mean Tony has to do something every year?
Yes, sir. He has to do
Like,
the
what does he
audits
have to
every
do?
year.
Like you,
So
because you have to submit to like a special agency or something. That's what you're saying.
there's a third party audit company that will do an audit on you based on the info that you say that you do,
Oh,
and you pay them every
okay.
year. You pay the platforms every year.
Oh yeah,
It's a very churnless space because when you do it, you put all of this effort into doing it. You're now going to do it every year and keep it up to date. You want the badges on your website to say you're compliant with this and this. Um, I love
man.
my job because I've just seen, like, as we're talking right now, someone just paid a deposit and it's $5,000. Charge succeeded on Stripe. It's B2B for you. That's why I love
Shit.
B2B.
Well,
Like,
okay.
that's one customer and that's a deposit, right? So imagine this space is just crazy. First of all, like, there's so much money involved in it, but
And you're
all
still
these all
kind
of
of
the
like
companies,
undercharging the competition.
yeah, significantly.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's not the important thing. Actually, I think we can get to the same price point as all of them. We could be more expensive. People will choose us because it's the easiest way to get it done. Like Tony, he outlined like the process. It sounded complicated to you. The idea for us is to essentially be the Vercel of compliance. So founders,
Yeah.
they will use Vercel because they don't want to have to go and learn AWS. They don't want to have to go and learn what a load balancer is or Lambda functions are, storage buckets and all of this bullshit. They just want to get the thing. They just want to get their app online and they want to get their app in front of people and selling it to people. It's the
Yeah.
same with compliance, right? We need to make it easy enough that a founder can just go and sign up to CompAI, go through the process of getting compliant. We make it so easy for them to do it, like step by step. Click here, next, 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 and you're done. That's what we need to get to. We're a bit away from that right now, but we're making really good progress towards it. So
Yeah.
people are coming to us because it's the quickest and the best way of getting it.
And
Modern
I guess
UI,
with
modern user
competitors, you still have to
experience.
do, you probably have to send emails, like have like a complete, like it's probably old
You
school
got it.
shit.
Yes, sir. Every single competitor in this space, you have to do sales call and demo call.
Oh my God, yeah.
We are the only platform in the world, and I will say that confidently. I've never seen it before. I've done a lot of research in the space, obviously. I've never been able to just go and sign up to a competitor's website or their app and find out like what it kind of looks like. We're the only ones who do it. You can sign up to Comp right now for free. You don't even have to put your credit card in. You can go
I see.
on the app, sign up, and get started in a few minutes. We offer, basically we say, hey, we'll help you with the whole implementation, and that's what we charge for. That's why we make
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Long term,
Wow.
it's going to be fully self-serve, where you just go on there, you pay maybe $400 a month, $500 a month, and it will take you through the whole process. You don't ever have to speak to a human. We made it so easy on the human side. You don't have to come and speak to us. You don't have to even have a call with us. But the
It
beautiful
reminds
thing
me
about it,
of the neobanks in Europe when
yes,
like 10 years ago they started, or maybe older, but like,
yeah.
you know, every bank you had to go give tons of papers. Now you can just sign up online. You have a bank account, you have a Apple Pay, you have
I'm going to blow
everything.
your mind. So the two companies that I'm talking about, which are worth $10 billion combined, they were founded in 2020 and 2021. So they're not that old. They're
Oh
pretty
my
new.
God, yeah. Okay. They're
Yeah,
just old
like they're
school, but
not.
not old. Okay.
They don't. They're not AI first. They kind of like made it. I feel like they made a mistake by launching too soon, in a weird way. They made these platforms
Oh,
pre like AI popularity, right? So now they have to go back and they have huge engineering teams. They have to go back and they're adding all of this functionality on top.
yeah.
Ours is like AI first. So our
S-
onboarding, and I'd love to show you it.
Yeah,
You
actually, yeah,
literally,
please show me because I'm dying to
should I
see
do
now. Yeah.
it? Let me share my screen quickly. Let me click this. Let me know if you can see it okay.
Yeah, all
So
good.
this is like so basically you sign up Google Workspace, whatever, sign in with Google or email, and you get hit with this page. Now
Yeah.
this looks like a standard kind of like marketing thing. Like we want to know your company name and we want to know some like analytics and usage of you. But it's not the
Yeah.
case. This is actually powering everything in Comp. So if I put in here, Dago Incorporated, right? And I'm going to put launch day, it's launchday.com in here. And
You
it's
type super fast, man. I've never seen that.
oh yeah, I'm great at it. How do we describe its launch day? Launch day on in here. What would you put
Uh,
in here?
product launch platform for indie makers.
Beautiful.
And if you want, you can. Oh, okay, it's fine.
SaaS company, 1 to 10 people. I'm guessing you have it's a company laptop, right? I'm guessing you're the only one who has it, I guess. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's yours. It's your company
Let's call it
laptop.
company laptop.
You probably use your personal phone for
Yeah.
emails and like
Yeah. Okay.
messaging. So we'll put that on there. How do you sign into everything? Google Workspace.
Yep,
Let's just
I do.
assume
Yeah.
Google Workspace. And you probably don't use much here. Maybe Slack and Figma, Stripe. Well, you don't use Stripe, I guess. You use Lemon Squeezy. So
It's been acquired, but yeah.
yeah, true, true, true. And
GitHub. Yeah.
GitHub, yeah, for sure. You don't use a HR tool because you're on your own. Maybe you use
Yeah.
Notion, Linear.
No, but let's do it. It's enough. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
yeah. So
I'm
you
very
put all of
excited.
these things in.
Yeah.
You're fully remote. You're on your own. I'm
Yes.
guessing you don't have an
Okay.
office. And personnel,
No,
right? Yes.
nothing
No.
like that. But yeah, let's do AWS. Yeah, AWS. I'm on
AWS.
fly.io because I'm a nerd. So yeah.
That's good. We actually have a customer who uses Fly.io. So yeah. And you don't, based on what I know anyway, you don't store anything sensitive in here. So I'm just going to put in
No,
other.
emails.
Yeah, it's okay. So you see it, it's actually going through, and it's this doesn't look great. We're changing this like where you land
It
right
looks
now.
great, man.
But
And let
the
me tell you, it doesn't look bad at all. Like I imagine, this looks very recent and quick and enjoyable because like it sounds so scary to do compliance. Just like, especially you're an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm running away from the boring shit. I'm running away
yeah,
from having to deal with administrative
exactly.
shit. So you told me
So
about compliance, I will procrastinate. And
Exactly.
I think I'm
Everyone
not the
does.
only one. So
Nope.
this looks cool. This looks fun. This is good. Yeah.
The gamified way of getting SOC 2 is essentially what we're trying to get to. So right now, it's doing everything for you. We have automated like 75% of SOC 2. So back in the day, even with the other platforms right now, you have to manually go and update all of the template policies they give you out of the box. You have to
Yeah,
add all of
yeah.
your risks. You have to go and manually add all your vendors, like the software that you use. We do all of
I
that
see.
based on that onboarding form. So if I go into, let me just make sure it's still going through it. It does take a couple of minutes, but if I go to like vendors, it's added all of them here automatically. So you don't have
Yeah.
to go and add them. You can go in here. It does a load of research about like who they are, what they do. Goes and scrapes their website, finds privacy policies, and it actually is scoring them already. It's giving them a score out of the box. You don't have to do
Okay.
it yourself. It's already created some risks for you based on the information. So, you know, you should set up two-factor authentication on Google Workspace because you said Google Workspace
I
is how you
see.
log
Yeah.
in. But then the beautiful bit, this is what takes the longest actually, is the policies. So every company needs these policies to be compliant. They basically just show you how you do things, right? And they seem complicated. And yeah, they would be. But, you know, if you have the AI do it all for you based on all of the stuff you told it, they go incorporated, it's an acceptable use policy. And it's actually going to say, like, fly.io, Google Workspace, it does it because you told it you use this, and this.
And these
It's done.
policies, how do I use them? Because I told you I'm a noob in compliance.
Basically, if you were a founder and you're a small company, you would just read these and say, okay, I need to do all of this, what it says. And that sounds really hard. So what we do is we basically say, have a look at these policies and make sure they look good to you. They look kind of like that you could follow them. You say yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then the real thing here is the tasks. And this is how you prove that you follow all of those policies. So you
Yeah,
have
that's
20
much easier.
policies, but we've
Okay.
dumbed it down into like tasks. Like, okay, now imagine you see this, and imagine Tony when he said that that blog post, right? Okay, it sounded
Yeah,
really
yeah.
complicated, but really, all you had to do is accept all these policies, make sure that they're good, add your employees. It's just yourself, and do risk assessments and add all your vendors into a place so
Yeah.
you know who everyone is, and then it's just a case of going through these tasks. 2FA is one of them.
And
Enable
then
2FA
once
on Google
once you yeah,
Workspace.
and then once you do that, like, do you verify and then do you give some kind of badge? Like, how does that?
That's right, yeah. So you would upload here a screenshot or an automation. It might automatically connect to Google Workspace and test that you have 2FA set up. This task is now auto completed for you because you integrated with it. So yes, you get a trust portal, and this is what I love about it. So we have trust.inc, the domain name, which I think is cracked.
You have this? Oh
Trust.inc.
my
It's
God. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Can you share how much it cost? You don't have to.
it was $2,000,
Oh, that's
but it
it?
wasn't.
Well,
Yeah, because it wasn't registered, so it was still available. I didn't buy it from like someone hadn't bought it and tried to sell it. It was just available, so I went
well,
and bought it, and I
2000
got
for an
this.
empty domain, for a free domain, it's quite
Yeah,
expensive though. But that's cool. But
yeah.
dude, I paid
Uh,
6,000 for logology.com,
I
which
think
I
I spent
didn't even
5K
wire.
on.
So yeah.
Dude, I spent 5K on linkdr.com, which is what me and Illy made back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh my God.
but yeah, so we have this trust portal. So when you start to approve the policies and you upload stuff to the task, you complete them, kind of like automatically shows this on your trust portal. You can share this with all of your customers. Now, one of the companies one of the big ones, they charge 25K a year for this.
Okay.
With us, it's included. We're trying to make it
Yeah.
easy, right? Like, you don't want to
And
have
so
any like crazy.
this is the thing that like you're gonna share with the B2B clients that need it.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
when they come to you and say, "Hey, we'd love to buy, your app," like Tony's it's TypeMind, right?
Typing mind,
Is it
I think. Yeah.
Typing Mind? Yeah. So when an enterprise customer came to Tony and said, "Hey, I want to buy Typing Mind," they would have said, "Are you like GDPR compliant? Are you SOC 2 compliant? Yes or no?" And if he said no, there's a very big chance that they might not be able to
Yeah.
buy it because they have their own policies which say they need it to make sure that you're secure or whatever. You handle data in a secure way. So he would have been able to just say, "Yeah, I am. Here's my
And he
link
just sent
to
them
trust
this
the
link
link.
and that's it. He
You
just
send
sent
them
them this
this.
page.
That's it, exactly, yeah. Now
Wow.
they can see that you're compliant, you're working towards it, you have all of the policies in place, you have all of the tasks complete. It's live monitored, so if I go and publish a policy, it will show up here. And yeah, it's really straightforward. So we're trying to make it super
This
easy
is
for any
like
company to just go
maybe
through.
this is like the Stripe of compliance, basically,
Trying to be that, yeah.
because
And that's what's exciting about it.
Stripe made it so much easier to accept payments. I
Yeah.
remember the before and after, and I think you
Mhm.
too probably, and that makes me think of that. Yeah, wow.
We have this. We've gone from zero to we've done a ton of sales basically in a small amount of time. We actually launched CompAI. It was the 4th of April this year, so
Oh
maybe like
wow,
I
yeah.
don't even know how many weeks it's been. But yeah, we're on the. We've done a huge amount in sales already, just because it's even if we charge double than everybody else, it's about the experience and how fast it takes to get it. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to spend hundreds of hours on these other platforms when you can just do it in a day with us and power through it, get it done.
And so
Congratulations! Like you have
just to be
to.
clear, so I understand, so Tony, he did, that's the same thing. Basically, you don't do, like, you make the whole process way easier, and
Yes.
it's way more, enjoyable than to go through these other incumbents.
Hmm.
But you still have, and you help with the implementation. You guide
Yep.
people through it, but you still have
Yep.
to do some of the implementation for sure. You still have to update
Uh,
uh, your own where it's needed, your
it,
integration and everything.
it's more about saying like, hey, look, like, do you have HTTPS enabled on your website? Yes, that's one task that you'd have to do out of 18. So it's actually not that
Yeah,
much work. Do you, if you're an indie hacker, two or three of those tasks are about employees and hiring employees.
yeah,
If you mark it as done, you don't do it. And that's fine. You're not going to fail the audit because you don't have employees. You can
yeah.
do it.
See,
So you'd say, no, we don't do the employee verification because I'm a one-person company, and I am confident that I'm not going to, I'm not a criminal who's going to,
yeah, yeah.
sabotage my own
Okay,
company, right?
yeah,
So
okay,
you'd mark it as done. Congrats, go on to the next
okay. I see,
task
I see.
and work
Wow.
on that. Make sure you have two-factor setup. Make sure that you have got like disk encryption on your laptop. Like enable file vault. Like
Yeah, yeah,
don't.
exactly. Yeah,
This is the important thing that we try and do. So we wouldn't say make sure your disk is encrypted. We would say specifically enable file vault on your Mac.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what makes us better because everyone else really overcomplicates like the descriptions, the actual like they try and overcomplicate everything or make it
yeah.
sound like smart,
Be,
but actually we
yeah,
should be dumbing it
exactly,
down. Want to dumb it
exactly.
down?
Yeah,
Just go
I
into
see, I
your
see.
settings on your Mac and enable disk encryption, file vault, or BitLocker on a Windows laptop. Easy.
And so
Takes
if
two
someone
minutes.
wants to start, attacking a bigger B2B market and they want to sign up, like not just for signing up, like what's the process, what's the price, what can they expect to pay, how does that work?
So we're working on a few different things right now. Typically, right now we're actually helping a lot more than we want to. It's a ton of service-based like implementation, helping out, and being more of like a guided, like they can message us on Slack, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But this week or next week, we're launching the full self-serve mode. So you'll get into CompAI, and we essentially won't be offering any like one-on-one support through Slack or anything like that. It would be a fully self-serve kind of process, and it would be around $4.99 a month. You'll get a 3-month trial. You will be able to sign up and test it out and see if you want to use it. The great thing about that is, there's no risk to trying us out. You can try it out, and if you get, if you go through all the tasks and you go and get compliant, you're going to stick around. You're going to have the trust portal. You want to show that off to customers, so you're not going to churn. Um, and you get that immediate benefit. Also, even if you're not SOC 2 compliant right away, you get the trust portal right away, and you say that you're working on it, and that's good enough for a lot of people.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you put on your website that you have this security portal and you're actively working towards being compliant, then it's better than not working towards it, and you still have that. You can get that immediately. So it'll be around $500 a month.
yeah. I see.
You'd still need to pay for a third-party audit from a different company. That can cost anywhere from like $1,000 to $10,000, depending on who you go with. This low-cost audit companies, there's some in New York City which charge 10K for a day audit. But they essentially would be invited into comp. They would see that you've completed all of the tasks and write everything up, and you're good to go. We make it easy for them and you. That's
Yeah.
the winning aspect of it.
And maybe you could like uh, give referrals to people, so we don't have to look for it.
Yep,
Like, I guess yeah, you probably
that's
thought
it.
about it. Yeah.
We have a marketplace. All of the big audit companies in the world, we've already signed partnership agreements with all of them pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're going to be in the marketplace in CompAI, and we will take a commission every time if you get to like 100% in the app and you need to go and do your audit, you click on the link to go to one of these audit companies. They will know it came from us. We'll be able to track it because you would invite them into the platform to do the audit, and then we charge them a commission. So that's why we can be significantly cheaper than everyone else because we actually will take from the audit companies. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like that would be a saving to you because we get a commission from them when you go through them.
Yeah. I see. I see. Yeah. You kind of like split. Yeah. You
Yeah,
simplify their work. I see. I see. And so, just one last question is like, I imagine these compliance, it must evolve often. It must. I imagine you like always updated.
yeah.
Like the benefit of working with you is, I guess we don't have to always. I mean, you probably send an email when there's something to
We
change or some stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's always ongoing. So you have to basically you get a notification in the app or through your email and say, hey, you need to upload this or you need to show that you're doing this, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of like it's like a fancy Kanban board essentially with some upper features. It's like the thing that makes me like crazy about this. It's just a CRUD app. It's just a really good to do list, and I feel like that's all it should be. But the benefit of using it is that you know that you're doing the correct thing. You
Yeah.
don't have to go out and kind of like Tony did. He had to get all of this stuff set up, and he had to like verify each step that he was doing it correctly. At least with this, you get it out of the box, and you know what steps to complete, and you know you're gonna get it. You're not gonna have any issues basically, and that's why you'd pay.
I see. Well, man, that's all for me.
Uh,
I learned a lot about
Amazing.
compliance, and I hope, and I think probably some people will be interested in that because yeah, it's not indie, but it's like I think
We,
I think Tony I think would be interested in that, and once you reach a certain level, and once you want to expand your market,
yeah.
that's a no-brainer. You need something like that. So
Absolutely. Like, so indie hackers are not really like our target audience. 'Cause I have been an indie hacker. I haven't ever, I feel bad for people who go to like these other companies and they like really, they kind of like give you FOMO. They say, hey, you need to get SOC 2, even if you haven't even launched your app yet. And
oh
they will
yeah, I
say, yeah,
see.
you need to get SOC 2 so you can win these deals. And they end up spending like 10, 20K. I've probably had around 10 people come to me in the last like month. And I've said to them, don't pay us yet. Just wait until you've launched your app, you have PMF, you have enterprises actually coming to you. The first question I always ask on the sales call is, why do you want SOC 2? And a lot of the time, people are like, oh, we had this enterprise customer reach out to us and say it. Every now and then you get people who are like, because I think it's like a good idea it will help me with sales and marketing.
Yeah.
It won't ever do that. So don't get it too early, basically. And there's a lot of companies out there that will, of course, just take your money and be like, yeah, happy to do so. And don't get me wrong, if they push me on it and say, actually, no, I'm still going to do it, then fine, whatever. But I would always say to people, just wait until you have PMF, you get someone, asking for it. Don't do it before then.
Yeah.
It's not
And
worth the
and as
money.
you were saying, just showing that you're working towards it, it's enough to,
Yeah,
make
exactly.
progress towards the deal, and then you can just, once you really get the deal, you can do it. So,
Exactly. That's it.
all right, man. Well, that was awesome meeting you and learning about, all this. So
Likewise.
I hope it brings you
Yeah.
some traffic and sales.
You know what? I was just happy to have our name on the launch day. It's going to be cracked, and yeah, I believe.
Awesome.
It was great to meet you,